going on, everybody? This is dkdynamite, and you guys know every now and again we get insight on some unreleased content that definitely should have released. Tonight we're going to be talking about some maps that we just never saw in both Black Ops 4 and even Black Ops Cold War. Definitely stay tuned. But before we jump into that, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below. And as a reminder, I'm doing a big giveaway for a PlayStation 5 and also a copy of Vanguard, all in one bundle, or just a cash value of $550 if the winner just doesn't want the prizes. And the information about entering this giveaway is down below in the description and as a pinned comment as well. Make sure you do confirm your entry using the link, and entries will be closing on December the 29th. One winner will then be selected shortly after that, and don't forget the website will randomly select one of the winners who did enter, and there is no bias involved in the giveaway whatsoever. I want to do something nice for the holidays, so there you have it. But other than that, we all know that a couple of days ago, concept arts of some of our zombie maps in Cold War did release online and were posted officially by some of the artists that worked on Black Ops Cold War. Now, these images gave us different glimpses of some of our Cold War zombies maps, the Nocturne tone specifically, and just an alternate take on some of the layouts, the lighting. Nothing too major. Didn't really reveal any unreleased maps for Cold War zombies, nor did it reveal anything too different about them. Just an alternate take on what the scenery could have been like. Nothing too crazy, but we know COD partner Mr. JD also covered this. I made a video shortly after it, but these devs are often allowed to share concept art they've worked on a little while after a certain game does come out, in case you guys are a bit confused on that. These images usually don't release right when the game comes out. It's probably like a good year after that, when a bunch of NDAs expire and some other important paperwork behind the scenes. But recently a number of images did surface which give us a cool glimpse of things that you probably haven't seen from Black Ops 4 and Cold War. Before we get into that, let's address the obvious here. We have the Ural Mountains. So over in Black Ops Cold War, we all know there's a Ural Mountains experience in both multiplayer and zombies, specifically Fireteam and Outbreak. Not only did we never get the full-fledged Ural Mountains map, which was originally planned and gameplay exists of on the internet, can't show you on screen for obvious reasons, maybe check the description down below, but there were even a couple of regions that probably were planned to release, but the player count for Fireteam might not have been strong enough to justify that. These regions do include Weather Station, Chemical Labs, Mines, and even Battery. Now I have a recreated image of the full Ural Mountains map on screen so you can see, and the real one could also be found online. Obviously can't show you that for obvious reasons, but the fact that in Weather Station, right, there was a rumor that Summit was going to be a part of that region, that gets me thinking that we would have saw other remasters just in the form of smaller sections within these bigger regions. Maybe not necessarily as a 6v6 map in multiplayer, or they could have done something easy where they release Weather Station, right, and then Summit just becomes its own 6v6 map shortly after that. That would have been cool to see. I mean, take a look back at Blackout from Black Ops 4, where within the Blackout map, we had maps like Hijacked and Raid, which we all thought were going to end up being ported into Black Ops 4 multiplayer as a smaller sections, but they never did that. But coincidentally, over in Season 1 of Cold War, we got Raid, and then a couple of seasons later, we got Hijacked. So it seems like those maps were just there on deck, ready to be added, and probably were going to be in BO4 multiplayer if they didn't have their time cut short working on that game. Now, some other fun facts is that Battery was actually a map over in World at War, so it's unclear if that map was going to be a part of the Ural Mountains itself and also be called Battery. Totally unclear. There was also rumors that Ruka was going to be a city at one point. And I say rumors even though gameplay does exist of that online. There's actually proof of it. Ruka, for whatever reason, was changed to the forest that we have now in Black Ops Cold War, which is still cool. I'm on board with that. And I wonder what the mines would have been like. We do have underground mines now over in Verdansk that recently opened up, and you don't have much time to enjoy those before the entire map goes away in a couple of days from now. But with that being said, I think a lot of scoopers out there who had access to the full Ural Mountains map, it was an early alpha build of it, did confirm a lot of regions like, what was it, Battery, Mines, and even Weather Station weren't really complete. And even Duga, a map that we have now in Cold War, also wasn't complete when they actually played the alpha version of the Ural Mountains. So it's cool that Treyarch went back later on after launch of the game and finished a couple of regions like Golova and Duga, which did release as DLC, but unfortunately the other regions I mentioned ended up getting the short end of the stick. Now I would certainly hope to see the full-fledged Ural Mountains map at least get added to COD Mobile. I mean, we did get the Blackout map added to COD Mobile, and originally we had Isolated, which was its own original Battle Royale experience, and rumors do suggest that Verdansk is also on the way for a mobile experience, so why not show Ural Mountains a little bit of love as well? That would be fantastic. It's unclear if Activision didn't anticipate Warzone to be so successful to the point where they had Treyarch somehow balance developing a multiplayer zombies and this Blackout 2.0 Ural Mountains, you know, in a very short time frame. They only had, what, a good year and a half-ish to make Cold War altogether, which is impressive, right? It was halfway through Black Ops 4's life cycle that Treyarch had to replace Sledgehammer as the head of COD 2020, which is crazy. So maybe because they didn't have to work on a campaign, and Raven was handling that, of course, Treyarch might have had a little bit of extra time to really plan out this Blackout 2.0 experience, which was the Ural Mountains, and that could explain why so much was done for it, and a lot of it is is stuff that we just haven't seen, which is weird. But why is it that Treyarch ironically has gotten the short end of the stick with both Blackout and the Ural Mountains? Because with Blackout, first off, if that was free to play, had crossplay, and lifted all the restrictions that Warzone currently doesn't have either, then you know what? That probably would have been more successful than Warzone. But no, you had to pay for it, so that immediately, you know, puts it below a bunch of other battle royales out there in the industry. And with Ural Mountains, Blackout 2.0, I'm curious if they would have allowed it to be free like Warzone to boost its success. But if it was going to be behind the paywall with the entirety of Cold War, then it probably didn't have a chance at all at stacking up against other battle royales out there. It's unfortunate. Let Treyarch make their own type of Warzone experience, let it be Ural Mountains or something else, and give it all the treatment that Warzone has gotten. And I guarantee you it'll work out perfectly, especially with all the main quests that the map could have, you know, the character missions, zombies, Easter eggs, wonder weapons, bosses. Blackout just did so much that Warzone still hasn't, and that's why I still put Blackout above Warzone, in my opinion. Of course, subjective, don't kill me in the comments. But with that being said, at least we got Fireteam Elimination added to the Ural Mountains as a DLC game mode, and I think it was Season 3. That's great. It's the closest we're going to get to a Blackout 2.0 here in Cold War. It's just the simple rules of Battle Royale. No loadouts, no BS. It's straightforward. I really do enjoy it, and at least we got a few extra regions like, you know, Golova and Duga, which are great. I definitely like Duga probably the best compared to the other regions that we got. But you all know, Combined Arms also got a bit scuffed throughout Cold War's life cycle. We only got one DLC map added to that game mode, which is crazy to think about. Just one, and it was Collateral. So you could probably bet the player count was even worse for that game mode, which is the reason why they couldn't justify adding more maps to it. But I can guarantee you, if player counts were higher, and if those modes maybe were free to play, you would have saw a lot more regions added to both Fireteam and even Combined Arms. But another fun fact for you guys is that over in the Ural Mountains in real life, there is an underwater cave around the mountains called the ORDA. And isn't that ironic? We have the ORDA and the new Dark Ether storyline, so you can bet your ass if we ended up getting the full-fledged Ural Mountains map, it probably would have been like Blackout, where yes, you were able to swim, and maybe in this Blackout 2.0, you'd be able to swim to this underwater cave for an Easter egg or a secret boss fight, something special. I could definitely see them taking advantage of that similar name, right? The ORDA and then an underwater ORDA cave would have been a huge missed opportunity if they didn't do that, so I guarantee you something would have been involved with that. And it's just sad we never got the full map. I mean, the fact you can swim in Blackout and in Fireteam, but you won't be able to in Caldera from Warzone, which is an entire island, that's just silly to me. So maybe one day we'll end up getting an underwater-like experience from Treyarch again in the form of a new Battle Royale map. We'll love to see that. But another possible missed opportunity, at least in my opinion, is something called Duga Strike. We had a couple of strike maps in 6v6 multiplayer, like Miami Strike, also, what's that map? Crossroads Strike, and it's great when they kind of separate some of the sections from a bigger map and turn those into 6v6 experiences, or even experiences for, you know, 2v2, 3v3. I'm on board with that, and if you guys didn't know, the entire map from Black Ops 1 called Grid is actually within the Duga region from Fireteam and Outbreak, so would have been absolutely perfect to see Duga Strike get added, and essentially just Grid remastered. And yes, you'll see in the gameplay, it's the classic map that we all know and love, Grid. They actually also have the bunkers from the original Grid, but I think farther away in the distance on Duga, which you can also access. So literally everything was done for it. They could have just dropped Grid Remastered or Duga Strike. It would have been perfect. Now, I definitely am surprised they didn't convert areas from the Fireteam maps into smaller 6v6 maps, just to keep the content flow going as fast as possible, adding more maps in as frequent as they could. But regardless, right, it was still the most updated Black Ops game to date. We got plenty of content that I'm really grateful for over the course of our 6 seasons, and I wasn't a huge fan of Hardpoint or Satlink in Fireteam. They're okay. Dirty Bomb is still king, of course, and Elimination is kind of its own thing, where it's just, you know, full-fledged Battle Royale, no BS, no other objectives, just kill the enemies. So yeah, I'm wondering if you guys have any ideas for the comment section. What other LTMs would have been great to see over in Fireteam? There's probably some other good ideas out there that I haven't even thought of. But now when it comes to gaming scoopers, right, everybody knows, take it all with a grain of salt. Whenever a gaming scooper comes out, and even if they're reliable, they may get bad information. They may get information that is out of date, or stuff that gets changed, canceled, moved. We've seen that happen how many times already with the Call of Duty franchise, so that's why whenever I report information from a gaming scooper, I always warn you about that. But scoopers did claim throughout the entirety of Cold War's life cycle that there were some unreleased remasters that were just sitting there on deck ready to go. Those maps include Radiation, Launch, Jungle, Firing Range, Plaza, and even Yemen. So we do know Cold War followed Modern Warfare 2019's footsteps with no Season 6 Reloaded updates. Instead, they had Haunting updates, which were big enough to essentially stand as a big Reloaded update for that season, and that was fair. I'm totally cool with that. We do know we are getting some more bundles throughout 2022 for Black Ops Cold War, similar to the couple that we got for Modern Warfare also a couple of months ago. So yeah, there is a year two, so to speak, in a minor way with just bundles. But even Modern Warfare had some maps that were done, and people out there had, I think, even leaked gameplay of last year, and those finally came out not too long ago. It was strange why they waited so long to drop them, but yeah, we could see some random sporadic update like that over in 2022 for Black Ops Cold War as well. I wouldn't be surprised. Now, you guys probably also know that every now and again, there's a random account that pops up on Twitter that ends up posting legitimate information that ends up getting proven later on, and even if the tweets don't get DMCA claimed by Activision, doesn't necessarily mean that the information isn't correct, because I think it's a bit inconsistent with the way things get taken down. Sometimes it's even not best to DMCA somebody because it just proves the leak is real, but as of recently, there was an account out there that claimed that Diesel Night was going to happen in Cold War, and this account had claimed things in the past that did come true. That's why I'm addressing this. But I believe if Combined Arms was more popular for Cold War multiplayer, we might have saw Diesel expanded with the motel that we had from Campaign, and it would have been a cooler looking map, I think. You know, Diesel in the day is fine, it plays well, I do enjoy it. It's also available for Gunfight, but the night version would have been cool as well, so we don't have too many night maps over in Cold War multiplayer, to be honest with you. But we then have a Twitter account that popped up a little while ago and doesn't really post that often, and maybe that makes them more credible. We have a account called COD Intel, who did post an image of an unreleased Black Ops 4 multiplayer map that I believe was found online, like I said earlier with the zombies information. An artist is able to then post artwork that he worked on, you know, a good year or so after a game comes out, once his NDA or other contracts expire. So there's an image out there of this really interesting map called Monty's 24/7 Gas Station and Grocery, based in Australia. And what does this map look like? Diesel, you guessed it, right? So it looks like there were some plans for some extra Black Ops 4 multiplayer content that never saw the light of day. It might have ended up being a free map like we had with Grind. That released out of nowhere for free for Days of Summer, and I'm sure more free deals like that were planned out, aside from the usual DLC multiplayer maps in the Black Ops Pass, but because of the issues that game had, budget cuts and other issues, they probably didn't have enough time to update Black Ops 4 anymore. And what do you know, we first saw this Monty's gas station looking map over in the Cold War campaign within a side mission, which is fantastic. There's even a poster of Double Tap in Diesel, which might have been a hint that, yeah, this was originally planned to be a Monty's gas station type experience. It's unclear what connection this would have had to the man himself, Dr. Monty, from the Old Ether storyline. We don't know. But this COD Intel account even recently posted images of what looks like an alternate take of Pines, and then what looks like Miami, as well as a plane, so that could be a different take on the map Checkmate. If not, it might be another multiplayer map that just never released, and even what could be a different take on Armada. It looks more like a battleship more than the pretty boat that we have over in Combined Arms right now. And yeah, there's also Armada Strike from Cold War multiplayer, so Armada got utilized quite a bit in MP and even got added to Outbreak over in Season 6, which is cool. But with that being said, let me know in the comments what you're thinking about these images that did pop up recently. These are officially stamped from artists that worked on these, so we know they're real, but you know, from time to time, people out there pop up on the internet, they post legitimate information, they might have legit sources that aren't dude trust me, and then all of a sudden start clout chasing and making things up to continue growing their accounts. This account doesn't seem to be doing that, but there was one suspicious video this account posted, which you guys might have missed, and it looks like an arcade gunfight map. And I'm gonna guess it might be fake, but if it was real, why wouldn't they have just dropped it out of nowhere? It's such a small and easy map to put in multiplayer, so I'm not sure how much I trust this video. I do think Gunfight did have a strong enough player count throughout the whole Cold War life cycle to where they kept adding in more Gunfight tournaments, more Gunfight maps every season or whatnot. So Gunfight still got plenty of support, which I'm happy about, but maybe they ended up scrapping this idea for a Gunfight map and replaced it with Showroom, which also does take place in the Pines. It's unclear. I'm still cool with what we did get, but just figured I'd bring that up real quickly in case you guys were interested. And the Pines Arcade is, of course, a very iconic location that I'm sure will be brought back at some point in future Treyarch Call of Duties. But this COD Intel account does remind me of that account known as Victor, which you guys also may have heard of. From time to time, he'll also pop up. He's a Chinese account, and he ends up posting legitimate information, and early information, I should add, about new Call of Duties. He did it recently with Vanguard, did it back with Cold War, even Modern Warfare 2019. So it's funny how some of these accounts are probably devs, QA testers, or other gaming insiders that don't want to reveal their identity, and they just come out of the shadows every now and again. It happens. But last and definitely not least, this account also shared a video of what looks like some promotional material for a Black Ops 4 pre-order bonus. this, that divine blueprint for one of the pistols. And it's a cool video. Give it a watch. It's linked down below. I can't show it on screen for obvious reasons, but I think this is further proof that Black Ops 4 went under a number of changes that are far different from the product we ended up getting. There were some plans for that game that just didn't pan out for a number of reasons. Maybe poor leadership, massive budget cuts, time constraints, even though they had 3 years to make it. And we do know there is gameplay out there of the scrap Black Ops 4 campaign. It was much less a campaign and more of like a tutorial type experience. It seemed really basic, really copy-paste, really filler in a way, where you're just going through some of the multiplayer maps, killing bots, and then it's kind of progressing the story. There were some beautiful cinematics done for the campaign, which you still have in Black Ops 4 right now. They're in the form of the specialist stories. So I guess they just turned whatever they could into specialist stories, but a campaign was planned at one point. It just never panned out, unfortunately. Now that is about it. This has been dkdynamite. Leave all your thoughts down below in the comment section. I figured I would have put together this interesting video that you guys probably didn't expect, where we talk about some unreleased maps that do exist and kind of did release in different forms for Black Ops 4 and even Black Ops Cold War. Let me know what you're thinking down below. Really hope you've enjoyed, and good luck to everybody out there entering my PS5 giveaway. Peace out, everybody.